Nick P., friend of the channel, wants to know my early thoughts about Illinois versus Indiana. He asks me to give an overall assessment of the teams. I think that experience versus production is the key here. With Illinois being more experienced, after all, they return almost 80% of their production, but Indiana's fewer players have more quality production and are better players coming back. So, for example, Luke Altmaier returns for Illinois, along with their entire offensive line, much of their secondary, their linebackers, tight end Tanner Arkin, much of their running backs. But Indiana brings back Elijah Surratt, who statistically and per PFF grades and film is much better than any wide receiver Illinois has right now. Michael Kamara is a defensive end that Illinois would love to have, was an All-American caliber player in 2024. D'Angelo Pons is probably as good of a corner, if not better, than anyone Illinois has right now. And Aiden Fisher was an honorable mention, so an All-American linebacker, depending on the site you looked at, for Indiana last year, and Illinois didn't have that. And Indiana's team last year, too, was much higher rated in the power ratings. So even though they return less and Illinois should converge with Indiana this year, the few players Indiana does bring back are the better players. And that's what makes this matchup fascinating. That's why I listed it as experience versus production. Might sound a bit counterintuitive because returning production is correlated with experience. Before we resume this segment, please take a few seconds of your time to make sure you have liked the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell for the channel and for any team podcasts and playlists linked in the description, and also comment your thoughts down below in the comment section and join my Discord server via the description. All of those things I just asked you to do are completely free, and they sign you up for things related to my channel, or they don't sign you up for anything. No cost to you, and all the benefit to you because we release daily college football content here on College Football with Sam. If you want to support the channel monetarily, sign up for a YouTube membership, or check any other links in the description for my merchandise store and Patreon page. Thank you very much, and let's get back to the segment. But the Venn diagram for returning starters and returning production is not, indeed, it's not a circle. There are some intersecting parts, but they're two different things. This game will be located in Indiana Memorial Stadium. The way too early spread that I could find is Indiana minus 2.5. So that's saying neutral field. These teams are about tied. Maybe you slightly lean Illinois, and the public certainly would, so I get the placement of that line. I don't know what time the kickoff would be. It could honestly be any time. I mean, if both of these teams are undefeated entering this matchup, it'll no doubt be a top 20, if not a top 15 ranked matchup. One of these teams could even be inside the top 10, depending on how the first few weeks of the season shape up, how they shake out. So I'm excited for this one. I really am, and I think I have a strong opinion about this game that you'll find out as this preview goes on, but I'm very curious if I'm going to be wrong. There are a lot of unknowns with both of these teams. There are two coaches who I think are good and especially great at development and utilizing the talent they have and doing more with less, especially so given Bielema's track record and also Curt Cignetti's track record. So the winning matchup here, again, is experience versus production, but also it's going to be quarterback play. So Luke Altmaier is the starting quarterback for Illinois, and Fernando Mendoza is the starting quarterback for Indiana. Now, both are transfers, but Luke Altmaier has been there for 2 years now. This will be his third year. 2 years of proven production and experience at Illinois. For Mendoza, this is only going to be his first year at Indiana. So for Altmaier, knowing the system, the playbook, being comfortable, especially since he has more familiar faces with his offense than Mendoza does, well, that's going to benefit with Altmaier there, especially since this game is earlier in the year and not in November. Altmaier last year threw for 2,717 passing yards, 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He had a QBR of a 69.1, which was 45th, a passer rating of a 144, completed 60.8% of his throws, and was sacked 32 times. He ran for 4 touchdowns and 217 yards. His best game of the year QBR-wise, was against Purdue, and also against South Carolina in the bowl game. His worst game was against Oregon, where they went out, got blown out 38-9. He had a QBR of 17.6 and a passer rating of a 75.8. Worst game by a mile of the 2024 season. Mendoza's best game last season in QBR was against Auburn with an 87.8 QBR. He completed 69.4% of his passes there, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He took 41 sacks. Mendoza did at Cal. Their O-line was horrible. And yet he had 105 rushing yards still with 2 rushing touchdowns and a long scramble of 50 that he earned against Stanford. 16 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 3,004 passing yards, and he had a 63.8 QBR, which was 55th nationally. QB play is going to determine a lot here. Obviously, Indiana Stadium isn't big. It's not super loud, but the home field advantage is going to play a little bit of a benefit here to Indiana, and Illinois' offensive line and quarterback play could even that out. There's a lot going on here. Again, it's experience versus production. Indiana's production is more proven for the players they do bring back, for their vets. Their vets are better, but Illinois has more vets. They have a greater volume of experience, and their roster has more familiarity with each other and better chemistry than Indiana's does, for sure. I think that some other things that could come into play here are Illinois and Brett Bielema wanting to run the football, being willing to pass, but they lost Pat Bryant and Zachary Franklin, and they return that O-line, Altmaier's mobile, and they bring back Aiden Lahry. So they may want to lean a little bit more on the ground this season, just thinking from a returning production standpoint. And Indiana last year statistically had the number 1 rushing defense. They did, if my memory serves me correctly. If not, it was certainly top 2. Faced a weak schedule, yes, but remember against Notre Dame, they gave up that one 99-yard run, and then for the rest of the game, I think Notre Dame averaged 1 or 2 yards per carry. And it's not like Indiana sacked Leonard to death. They just stonewalled them up front, that really good Notre Dame offensive line. And remember what they did to Ohio State with no offense. They were able to really prevent Ohio State from running the ball until really garbage time hit. So if Indiana can reproduce their success on defense last year, they'll probably win up front against an Illinois offensive line that, yes, is experienced, but the Illini last year did not have tremendous success in running the football. I mean, they averaged 4.4 yards per carry on the ground, and it's not like their schedule was this Wisconsin, Oklahoma, Florida level schedule. It was a schedule that had really 2 tough games and then a lot of other games in the regular season that were winnable. It's a huge part of why they went 9-3. A similar schedule to Indiana's than a lot of people would believe, although Indiana's was easier. So I want to use this to segue into just a little bit more of a deep look into both of these teams, and then I'll get to my prediction here. So for Illinois, their questions this year are who steps up at the skill position. McCray is gone, went to Georgia. Obviously, Zachary Franklin and Pat Bryant, they left for the NFL, ran out of eligibility. For Indiana, can they rebuild or will they reload, given the fact they lost about 4/10 of their production from last year? And has the program been revolutionized, or is it the same old Indiana, or somewhere in between? For Illinois, I have concerns about their offensive line, even with all it brings back. I mean, they gave up over 30 sacks. Altmaier is not a quarterback who has bad pocket presence either, and they struggled to run the football. I mean, there is a limit, I think, to the talent that Indiana and Illinois have, but even more so from Illinois based on the 2 teams that I watched last season. For Illinois, their weaknesses, I think, are right tackle, where Zen Michalski's supposed to start, tight end, and along with Illinois, just the team ceiling overall and roster depth could be concerning. I love both quarterbacks, though. I think that both quarterbacks will be top 15 this coming season in college football. I love both defensive back rooms. And overall, I think that Indiana, they have, again, the higher quality player, but there is more variability there. We don't know as much about them as we do Illinois. Illinois is more experienced. I also think that Indiana has some sneakily good NFL talent and one of the best staffs in the country. Illinois' staff is good. I don't quite know if it's at that level. In the preseason S&P Plus, per Bill Connolly, Illinois has a 14.3 rating, which is 19th. Indiana has a 12.2 rating, which is 23rd. I have a strong feeling here that Indiana is the vastly superior team, and I think that consequentially they win and cover. I could be wrong, but keep in mind that Indiana only won a single close game last year. They were 1-0 in close games, only played in one. Blew out everyone except for Michigan, who had superior talent to them, but Indiana was much better coached and had a more complete, balanced team. Then you get to Ohio State and Notre Dame, who have Michigan or greater level talent, but are better coached than Michigan and much more complete teams, and they just dominate Indiana. Well, Illinois and Indiana were honestly pretty similar in big games last year. They were. I will say that I think Indiana's defense in big games did a better job than Illinois did. And I think that their offenses were about the same, both pretty neutered in 2024. So the fact that I think Indiana's defense right now has the better players, is more balanced, and I do think that Mendoza has higher upside than Altmaier. That's my opinion. And the wide receiver core is better. I like Indiana's offensive line more if it's able to gel. It's an if. There's more ifs with Indiana than Illinois, but I do believe Indiana's upside is much higher than Illinois'. I think that Indiana will win here. I believe that they will cover. Way too early look. Wouldn't be shocked if maybe my opinion on this changes at kickoff, but from my preseason standpoint, I think that it might be a moment where Illinois goes into Indiana. It's a short spread. People are hyping up Illinois, and Indiana just blows them off the field. And it's very clear who the better roster is and who the better staff is. Remember, Illinois does not have the athletes or recruiting or depth or even staff or anything close to that Ohio State or Notre Dame did last year, or let alone Oregon or Penn State. That's why Oregon and Penn State game controlled them last year. Those are the teams that Indiana struggles to play. The teams that are anywhere from 30th to 50th or lower, or maybe a tad bit higher, so like 20th or lower in blue chip ratio and recruiting, so Nebraska on down, Indiana blew all those teams out or game controlled them. So I fail to see, with enough starters coming back and Indiana staff being in a second year, how this would be any different. Thank you for watching College Football with Sam. Make sure that you've liked the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell for the channel and team playlists and podcasts in the description, join the free Discord server where we talk college football 24/7, and have commented your thoughts down below. Check out the description for any ways you can support the channel monetarily. Everything else I've asked you to do is completely free, and your support means the world to me. We're trying to become the next big thing on college football YouTube. 6-figure subscribers, maybe 1 million one day. I think we can do that. And also check out any videos or playlists, anything in these columns right here, where there will be videos and playlists. Yeah, you get the point. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next one.